Basement League Plus. Cobb and Dash on the mic, bringing heat every line. CT still chasing his very first ring. 14 years deep, still hasn't won a thing. Alex in the playoffs can't get past the gate. Matt's got the trophies, his legacy's great. Dave and Matt voting down all the new rules. Dash runs the league like a king with no tools. Cobb to back L's wearing that crown. New guys just learning, trying not to drown. Millie remote drafting from who knows where. CB, Yagluteya, Jello J bring flair. Stu with 2 titles, still hungry for more. But watch out, the tomato king's at the door. Dash calls the shots, runs it like a boss. Tomato pelting's coming, gonna sting and toss. Basement boys forever, this league's our pride. Cobb and Dash, take you on a fantasy ride. Hey, this the Cobb and Dash show, better check your stats. Previewing the matchups, breaking down the facts. From draft day drama to those title dreams. We the kings of the basement league, we keep it alive. Cobb and Dash, Cobb and Dash,
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Cobb and Dash show. It's the first time we've had the full cast and crew in here since week two, right? Is it week 3, week 4 you were out? So yeah, week 2. Yeah, wow. So Cobb's already missed like most of the football season, so we're glad he's back. He could have been back on the show last week. I even pushed the show to like midnight on Saturday nights. You know what? Cobb will do it. He just got back. I thought he would do it, and then he bailed on me, and I had to get drunk and be tipsy by myself, do my chug solo dolo on a Saturday night, but it's okay. We're used to Cobb ditching us. But Cobb, how you doing, man? Are you feeling refreshed after the long trip abroad?
Yeah, I was coming back from a pretty good trip, actually an awesome trip, and got back pretty late Saturday. Looking forward to just kicking my feet up, relaxing, and I get a message from the co-host and the crew over here asking me to get right on a show and show my face when I was about to pass out for for the next like 12 hours. But got to chime into that show. Got some, nothing super surprising. It was when I miss a show, I expect to get some slander thrown my way. It happens, but I'm feeling relaxed now. Kind of getting back into my job, and then also my job here, the Cobb and Dash show, and also in BL Plus, just being a manager for my team. So got a lot of work ahead of me, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, we were happy you're back. I know everyone was kind of taking digs at you. No, actually, I will say the episode we had your brother on, we didn't actually. There was actually not a lot of shot taken on that one. Mainly, I think the most shots you took were last year when you actually went when you returned back to the mainland. That's when the digs actually started coming back at you. So, we waited till it was fair. You were back right when you're back in the United States, that's when we come at you. That's how we do it. We wanted to let you have your trip and with no shots taken at you. But your brother filled in admirably. A lot of people said I had a few comments saying that no wonder why I was such a big fan of Kyler. Kyler's a big fan of saying yes to everything I had to say. So people said it reminded him of a little Barry Dash kind of special, where like the Cobb or Kyler was kind of nodding his head to everything I had to say. Which I don't see it that way.
Yeah,
I
I
see
talked to him after
Kyle
the show, or like when I got back.
What were you saying?
I tried to talk to him after we got back, and he was like he said he was hiding his opinions a little bit. He didn't want to take shots at too many people. He said there's a few things he wanted to say that he kept it low key. He didn't want to make too strong of a first impression, just kind of get his toes a little wet. But he said he had a good time.
Yeah. I can see he didn't want to take shots. He was very cordial, very nice. Just kind of like kind of like you in a way. You don't like to take a lot of shots. You only return serves. You don't really go out there and dish it unless someone's come at you. But he did a fine job. I know before the draft, before we came on, he was like, "Are we talking about the betting lines?" I was like, "No." I was like, you can use those as indicators for players and how you think games are going to go. But now we don't really talk betting lines on the show. So obviously week 4 is in the books, and today's episode will be getting into week 5. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff to go in this one. But obviously, the way we begin shows we'll do our week 4 highlight, and then we'll also do our our low score chug, which I have that here from our guy Stu. Rest in peace, Stu. But Cobb, you're back on the mainland. You got to see week 4 kind of play out and right in front of your eyes. What was the big thing? To me, a lot of things stood out to me for week 4. But what was the big thing for you that stood out to you in week 4?
I mean, our reigning champ is in trouble. I'll tell you that. I think that was the big thing. We had a lot of faith in Stu's repeat. Not saying he can't do it, but he's in a pretty tough hole. Unfortunately, I feel like I'm right down there with him, even though I'm 8th right now in the standings. Got some things to work out, but there's been a lot of injuries across the board, and kind of some ugly performances over the last week or two.
Yeah, some really bad ones. I mean, I think I have the season low on the 69 or 70 from a couple weeks ago, which is really bad. And I thought my season was over. I was like, oh man, should I start preparing for the Tomato King stuff? And then I saw Stu, and then I beat the shit out of Stu, and I was like, whoa, okay. There is, and also Xavier Worthy and Mahomes came together. I was like, okay, there's a shot that I won't be last if these two can connect. So, my big takeaway going into this week, I know this guy lost last week, but such an amazing losing effort is Lil J Jack, one of the guys from the new owners club, and he's lost last week with a 153. He lost obviously the high score in Yaglu with a 163. So Yaglu, we'll save Yaglu talk for later, but Yaglu scoring 163, obviously a huge story, a high score of the week. But I think the big story for me was Lil J. I mean, he's 2-2, he should be 3-1 really, but he's got a really good squad, man, and like to come out with the 153, he's the leading scorer in the league right now, and points for, I believe he's by 1 point, he's the leading scorer in the league right now, and no high scores yet, which is unfortunate, bad luck, but he's been awesome, and I think as far as I think this year is a very interesting year because like in years past, it's always the same old guys in the playoff picture from like week 1 to week 15. And this year it's a little different where you don't really actually see the same old guys, right? Like, I mean, look at me, you look at Hotch, even Adam has been in the playoff picture for the last few years. Even you were before your 2-year reign of terror of being in the pancakes and tomatoes. You were a mainstay in the playoff picture, but now we're seeing pretty much like the entire new owners clubs in that, which is nuts. You don't usually see the new owners guys like come in and take the league by storm. So I think that's a big thing for me. Also, I love to see that because again, people aren't going to want to stick around in a league if like they see Dash winning or Hotch winning every year, even though it seems like Hotch wins every year. But like seeing that, it's good for the morale of the league to see for guys like Roden, for guys like Tasia, for guys like ZB, for guys like Lil J to be amongst this playoff picture right now. And I know we have ZT and Alex who are in there, but like those are guys who are usually stragglers who will stick around there, but like we know they're not going to last, they'll fade. But like I'm happy for the new owner club guys. Any thoughts on the new owner club kind of like in Roden being around the playoff picture right now?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of proud of them. I think like you said, they've been kind of watching the league just go on while they were in the background a little bit. They had to sit and watch while the mainstays really dominated the playoffs and the championships. Obviously, ZB had a close call last year, but yeah, just kind of sitting here as a proud co-commish of the league. Love seeing it. We have every single person in the other than Roden would be their first time champ. So that's love to see that.
You do love to see that. Although there's 2 guys who are in the current playoff picture right now that I prefer them to stay at 0. But everybody else, I'd honestly be happy with Roden getting his second championship over Alex and ZT winning one. Like Roden does. Roden's been in the championship multiple times. People forget that. People forget what Dave has done for this league.
I think he went to 3 straight.
It was 3 straight.
Didn't he go against you twice?
Yeah, I'm 1-1 against him.
And then I beat him.
Hold on,
So
I got
that's 3.
So 2017, he wins. He beats me in the championship. It was the year 2016. No. So 2017, he wins his first one. He loses to me in 2018, and in 2019, he loses to you. Yeah.
Yeah, so 3 straight. 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and then I went to 3 straight too.
Rowan's been a sleeper, dude. Rowan's one of those guys like has gone under the radar over the years. People forget about what his prowess that 3-year run. So like, hey, Rowan's back in the playoff picture. I'm a fan. You know, like a lot of people said, oh yeah, you know, he wasted a lot of his prime years with doing these dumb trades with Hodge. A lot of people have said that. I didn't say it, but a lot of people have said that. And you know, he's back and goes, hey, it goes to show you he hasn't made any trades with Hodge for the last year and a half. So hey, maybe there is something to that. And Rowan says the Gurley era, good era to be in.
Good era.
And now he's got the Josh Allen era to kind of leapfrog him back to relevancy. So we're rooting for you, Dave. We're happy for you, buddy. To Dave and the new owners club, everybody else who is in the playoff right now with Alex and ZT, we're not rooting for you. The Combat Show is vehemently against you.
Like the new owners club, half of them are still in the bottom 6.
Are they?
Yeah, Yags and Tasia.
Oh yeah, I mean, Yags is coming off a big week though. You know, he had 165 this past week.
He's just making big moves too, and he just won as well. So
and he just changed his team name too.
Yeah, big head mode.
Yeah,
interesting, bold move.
Big head mode. You know the reference. You know the reference.
Not at the top of my head.
NFL Blitz. Before the game starts, you do those codes, and like you can get to the big helmets for the players.
So just for Dobbs, yeah.
Yeah, just for Dobbs. I don't know if he's even going to start him, but not bad. I like the reference there. So
yeah,
I'll tell you what. There's some guys in the league who are supposed to change their team names and never did, and I'm looking at the 1 seed right now. Lil J, he's still getting his bearings in the league, so I'm not going to bust his balls too hard about that. But in my Cobb era, ZT said he didn't like that team name anymore, but whatever. That's another reason why I want him to lose. All right, so now we got our week 4 low score chug. So Stu got dominated by me. It was the biggest blowout of the week. I beat him 143 to 89.4, 54-point win. I believe was that the highest of the year. Second highest of the year. First highest was last week where I lost 138 to 68 to Jack. That was a 69-point blowout. But yeah, the 54-point loss was the second highest of the year. The third highest is yours when you lost to Stu actually in week 2 of the season. So wow, I had the money have fallen for Stu. So all right, let's get Stu's video up here. This is a pretty good one. He apparently drank this thing cold, so it's always the worst. I did mine at midnight last week, and I got tipsy throughout the episode, and I didn't realize I did research on it after. I was like, am I lightweight now? Then I was like looking, it was like actually no. When you chug, it actually gets to the alcohol. I mean, no shit. Alcohol gets in your bloodstream faster, so obviously you're going to feel the effects faster. So I was like, that does make sense. And I never thought about that. But here's Stu's Modelo Especial chug.
All right, everyone. Low score of the week. It's a bummer. I got my Modelo here, unopened. I gotta say, season's not going like I thought it would. I really thought I was going to do okay. That Hotch trade was going to help me stay competitive. And now I'm looking like I'm in last place right now. Presumptive Tomato King. It's no good. Here's something we could turn around. I projected scores like 100. I have like no rookies on my team. I'm really hoping for better. But for now, low chug of a week. Hopefully I'm not here a bunch more this season.
He does a key twitch here. You'll see you'll see it. What? Look at his hand. Look at his hand. Look at that.
I don't know why the mug he used made it look like so much more beer.
That was awful.
I asked him about that twitch. I was like, Jesus, dude. I was like, we better die. He was like, dude, I thought I was about to throw up.
Jesus.
So thoughts
Can't put
on
him down like he used to.
I know. I mean, he looks like he still can. You just look at the beard
Yeah.
and like just his whole get up. He looks like he can still throw him down. He looks like he's throwing him down during his workday still. But what do you make of just Stu's team? And we talked about the biggest blowout loss. I know we'll probably talk more about him when we get to the Tomato King later, but just big picture, what do you make about Stu?
Yeah, I think it's like you said, night and day what we came into the season with. Well, I think we both kind of had our question marks around it. Now it's kind of proving to be true. I don't know why my camera went all blurry. I think it's kind of spooky that he doesn't really have rookies on his team too. So he doesn't really like have a great outlook either way. Like, who's he gonna flip for much to really fix this team? You really look for like a key guy he can flip. And he has some like okay names, but no one you're fixing your season for. So or with.
Yeah, it looks like he's really relevant. I mean, Stu's always been a big fan of the names, like the key, like the guy, the
Traditional
vets.
guy.
Yeah, he likes the vets, and I totally appreciate that. I mean, we need guys around here who, we have too many guys who love rookies in this league. We need some guys who are like here to kind of keep this game, kind of middle of the road, to make everything kind of go back to the middle. So he's kind of the extreme on one side, whereas we have everybody else who's extreme on one side. So like, it's nice to see someone still cares about the veteran guys. But yeah, I think. The bottom line is he took his swing last year to win the championship and he won it, and now he's paying for it this year. The whole Bo Nix, Jay Daniels thing, I get this keeping two quarterbacks, but then when doing that trade at the draft, he also he kind of did his kind of dumb thing, right? Because obviously I think we can both agree that Jay Daniels has a brighter future than Bo Nix does, like long-term wise. But then he saw Hodges trade for this year and next year. I was like, ooh, I could try to compete this year by getting rid of Daniels. But really, he's not going to compete this year. And he got rid of a good asset for the future, all because he thought he could take a swing this year. And all the guys he traded for, all his early round picks are all done. Kittle's done for a while. Yeah. Neighbors is out for the season. And then who's the other guy he had that's hurt? There's somebody else. I forget. Yeah. McLaurin, who's hurt.
McLaurin was hurt, yeah.
Yeah. McLaurin, Kittle, and Neighbors.
Brutal.
So he really struck out.
Cobb's IR spot, man.
Yeah, I think someone's gonna. I think you might have to retaliate next year and call our team Stu's IR spot. Or Stu's long-term goals. I don't know.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Obviously, we wish him the best with the rest of the season, but I think a lot of people are going into the weeks now happy to be facing Stu, which is kind of weird. Not something you expect for a reigning champ. And yeah, I mean, hopefully he gets it. And it's also unfortunate because Neighbors is kind of fixed on his IR spot, not a guy you can drop, because then he becomes like a third rounder or fourth rounder or something like that.
I think we add 3 picks to it, so yeah, 4th round.
Which is unfortunate because it's not valuable for Stu because he's going to stay at first if he's on Stu's roster, but he also can't just drop and give someone that asset for free. So, yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, man. But again, I'm sure he's not crying because he won a league last year. So it
was worth it.
It was worth it, yeah. But again, long term wise, I mean, will it be another 10 years before we see him win again? Possibly. Stu's not really a big fan of building squads, right? Like last year, he kind of had to trade a lot of future picks and assets to kind of strike while the iron was hot. It wasn't that he built a great team, because otherwise, I mean, we don't really see any keepers from that team, right? That are oh man, at least he's got him. There's really not much. There's not at least he's got so and so on his team right now. It's kind of sad, but good luck to him the rest of the way. I told him yesterday that I wish I was playing him every week. But it is what it is. All right, so thanks, Stu, for sending that video in. We look forward to seeing. Hopefully, you're not the guy next week. Although it would be funny to see you chug again. I do. I did enjoy the Stu chug. It was kind of nice. Seeing that guy down Bruce. When he came into town last time, I saw him down a couple brewskis at the old Caboose in Mosaic.
Oh, he loves that spot.
Oh yeah, he's a big Caboose guy. He really is. The guy, when he was living there, was working from home at Caboose. The guy's a huge fan of it. All right, so now we're gonna get to the Week 5 preview. And the week 5 preview is right here. So we're going to start with our 1 seed, and that is the ZT. No, yeah, it's ZT, but who the fuck is it? Sorry. ZT versus Adam. This is a big game. Huge game. A lot of people were excited about this one. Okay, let's get the share the screen here. All right. So, you know what? I got a hand to Adam, right? Adam, last week, I don't know if you guys were watching the show last week, but I was kind of, I was kind of suspect on his team that he was trotting out there in this one. He started a double tight end set, which for me, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And then it came to fruition, man. It looked pretty damn good in the end. I wasn't laughing. I was actually applauding it on the show. And he knew it was kind of weak, though, because he was like, I assumed this was dogged on the Combat show, which it was. It was dogged. But the Dak Prescott, I thought was a really early pick, and that has kept him in contingency this year. He's in contention because of that, and good for him that he's in contention. And Dak Prescott's getting a 30 almost every week. He's been solid, and I keep telling people this. People dog the whole 2 quarterback thing, and right now, like I said, I have Mahomes and I have Baker. Mahomes looking back to normal. Baker still has a great plethora of weapons, and I'm getting trade offers, not the trade offers that I want for Baker right now. I'm sitting on a trade that I got from somebody in the league, and I told him I'm going to wait on that because I think that there's going to be someone who at some point is going to see, oh shit, I really need to fix my quarterback situation, and they'll trade me what I want to be traded for him. Which is a 4th round pick, by the way. I want a 4th, but I'm not being offered a 4th right now, but I want a 4th. However, so Adam is going to ride out this Dak wave, and as much as Dak does, that's where his team's going to go. And again, you live and die by the QB. That's where I've sat on a long time, and I'm going to continue to live by that notion there. So with that being said, we are talking about a guy who is neglecting the quarterback position in ZT, who has Lamar. Lamar, they say week to week with his hamstring injury. We don't know. I still think he's lying about it. I think he's trying to save face because I think he quit that game against the Chiefs. I mean, there was literally no indication that he hurt his hamstring. And then all of a sudden, they show him the side, they throw his helmet, pissed off, and then oh, he's got a hamstring injury. He's not coming back in the game. And then it's like, oh, okay. And then they say, they asked Harbaugh after the game if it was a playoff game, would he come back in? He goes, I don't know. And then the next day, they asked him the same question. And he said he wouldn't have gone back in the game. It's like, okay. And then they're saying that's week to week. However, they say he's going to try it out before game time on Sunday. And he might play. So I think there's a lot of saving face here. I don't think the injury is as bad as they're saying it is. I think they were trying to save face because it looked really bad, him just quitting that game on Sunday. So anyway, ZT hopes that they're just trying to save face with that because without Lamar Jackson, ZT's in trouble because we're talking about CJ Stroud, who's trotting out there right now with the worst offensive line in the league. We're talking about Browning. We're talking about bums. We're talking about possibly Dillon Gabriel. That's what I'm hearing too. Not good. So right off the bat, I'm going to go Dak Prescott over CJ Stroud. So we'll just get out of that. A.J. Brown, Ted McMillan. So A.J. Brown has not been great at all this year. That Eagles offense is atrocious. The first half of week 3, they had 33 yards positive in the first half of that game. The Eagles did. The first half that was the first half, and the second half of week 4 they had -1 total yards all offensively. This Eagles team is just a paper champs, 4-0. I'm not buying this team at all. They're barely winning these games. And A.J. Brown is already making tweets. We talked about after week 1 when he wasn't getting targets. We made jokes about him possibly asking for a trade. And it's at that point where he's posting cryptic tweets about not getting the ball, not being involved. So that's a disaster. They're also playing Denver this week. I think he's going to be shut out of this game. Another 0 for him. Ted McMillan, which I'm not a fan of the Panthers offense. I think Ted McMillan is going to get more than what A.J. Brown gets. So, boom, I give Ted McMillan to ZT. Chase Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs. Chase Brown, I'm sorry, man. He is not good. I mean, a lot of people talk about his yards per carry last year is awful, but he's got a lot of touches. He got a lot of catches. Who's making the most of everything. That Bengals defense offense with Browning at the helm is not good. Just stack the box, gets the run, and make Browning beat you, and that's what teams are doing, and that's what the Broncos did last week, and that's what Detroit will do. I'm not high on Chase Brown, and of course, Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the best in the league. So give me Jahmyr Gibbs. Kelsey versus Brenton Strange. I'm going to go Brenton Strange, although I think Kelsey might have a good game this week. Jacksonville plays mainly a zone-heavy defense. So by that, you think that Kelsey would actually have a lot of catches over the middle, potentially. Brendan Strange, I'm going with him. Just solely based on the fact that when the Chiefs played the Buccaneers last year, Liam Cohen's offense, what's his name? Kate Otten had his biggest game of the year, 7 for 77 or 8 for 77 on that game and a touchdown. So I think by that metric, I think with that offense, I think I see Brendan Strange having a better game than Kelsey. So give me Brendan Strange, but narrow there. Then we got Ashton Jeanty versus Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm going to go Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think Cincinnati's defense is just horrible. Jake Ferguson versus Cam Scatterbo. Give me Cam Scatterbo just based off the touches and volume. Although I think Ferguson's key. And again, Adam rolling out 2 tight end sets 2 weeks in a row. That's ballsy, but he's got 2 tight ends that you can do that with. So I give him credit for that. So kudos to Adam. There's a chance I might have to do freaking Harold Fannin and Dallas Goedert this week. I mean, we're getting that bleak around the league right now. And I feel like every year we say this, but I think this is the worst year we've had with injuries, man. I really do. But I think we say it every year. RJ Harvey, Woody Marks. Woody Marks is the hot new thing, the hot new toy against Baltimore's horrible defense. But it looks like ZT is going heavy with the Houston offense this week. So Woody Marks and CJ Stroud, very interesting. He's going to rely very heavily on this on Baltimore's demise. So I'll give Woody Marks. RJ Harvey still splitting carries with J.K. Dobbins and being, it's the 60-40 split, being J.K. Dobbins getting more. So I think with all that being said, I think we're going to go with ZT here, unfortunately. But I do think there's a chance that CJ Stroud has a bad game and Dak has a really good game, and that's all the difference there. I'm going to go very narrowly here. ZT wins 124 to Adam 120.
Yeah, no, I'm leaning the same way. I'm kind of scrolling through ZT's team, and I'm just like, he really hit on a lot of his like later kind of rookie and just dart throws with obviously Scatterbo now looks like usable asset or pretty good asset. Obviously Rome Odunze looks like a stud. Warren looks like a stud other than, Gainwell looking like a guy over there. He had J.K. Dobbins. He's got Mike Evans now waiting in the background. Woody Marks. It's kind of annoying how deep his team is. So if Lamar's back, this is going to be obviously a super dangerous team. But if, he starts losing his QB, start looking at his team a little different. Regardless, agree pretty much across the board with you. I have ZT winning this I would say pretty easily. I just don't think the ceiling is there for Adam right now. Rolling out 2 tight ends, fun gimmick, not something you're confident in doing. And then Jeanty looked great. Let's see if we can continue it. Same like Chase Brown, like you said, stack the box. We saw last week that you really just need to send 3 rushers, and that line can't do anything. So yeah, give me ZT here, 140 to 117.
140, damn.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Or no, 130. Sorry, 130 to 117.
Okay, all right, yeah. About the same, yeah. I mean, again though, I could see Dak having a really big game. New York Jets defense is not good. So yeah, if that happens, then I think we have a ball game, because I don't think Stroud, regardless how bad Baltimore's defense is, that offensive line for the Texans is one of the worst in the league. It's bottom 3 at least, I know for sure. But yeah, all right. So next matchup here we got myself versus my guy Dave, who I was just praising in the opening of the show, in the cold open. Projection right now is not good. I have no Bucky Irving this week, so that's makes things even more interesting. So, Cobb, who do you have in this?
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, these are teams that are very familiar with each other. Got a lot of respect between the 2 franchises. You'd call it's kind of like one of those rivalries that they don't really like. They're not really button heads, hating each other. I think it was it last season, or the year before? You said Roden was your guy like the entire season. So there's a lot of respect there. 2 completely different teams at the moment. You have Roden's really coasting along, looking strong in the second place spot, and then obviously you're pulling out some wins. You just dominated Stu, coming off a good win there. Just got to keep stringing things along until your team can kind of get a little healthy. But going through the matchups, Josh Allen against Patrick Mahomes, I think a lot of people were sticking a fork in Mahomes, thinking that he was done being that relevant of a quarterback. Obviously, last year was a little rough, but dominated last week. Going against Jacksonville, I think he'll have a good week, but I'm not going to pick anyone against Josh Allen, even though I do like our defense, like ours is in Patriots defense. I just think Josh Allen is just too much to handle. It's one of those things where I was going against Roden last week and was hoping that the Bills would get ahead super early so they wouldn't really need Josh Allen much. And it kind of looked like he was going that direction. But then he went off and scored, like 28, 30 points, something like that. Give me Josh Allen, that matchup. Worthy against Puka Nacua. I love the stack there. Looked great. We're still waiting for Rashee Rice to come back, but Worthy, as long as he's healthy, looks to be a great option. But Puka is an absolute stud. A 33 last week against me as well. Wasn't super fun to watch that, but yeah, I mean, the Rams are cooking. He's cooking. He's gotten the lowest targets he's gotten is 9. He has 15 targets back-to-back weeks. That's a Puka right there. Mondre versus Chuba. I thought Chuba was hurt. Okay, he's day-to-day. So that's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. Because Roden, I guess he has Dowdle, but not a really great pivot options. His bench isn't that great. I didn't really realize that. That's a little risky. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll stick with Chuba for now. But if anything happens with that, I'll take Mondre. I think. I mean, obviously, Pats are probably going to pass a lot, but we'll monitor that for now. But I'll choose Chuba. Ertz versus Goddard. Goddard. King of touchdowns for his fantasy points. Got 2 last week. Ertz has just been a pretty classic, consistent guy, but obviously last 2 weeks with Mariota hasn't been that great. But so with Jaden Daniels coming back, I think he gets an uptick. Philly going against Denver. You talked about how that offense looks pretty whack right now. I think I'm going to lean Ertz there, but I could probably give this a wash. But again, I know Jaden really likes throwing to Ertz, so I might lean Ertz there. Higgins against Waddle. Give me Waddle. I don't want anything in that Cincinnati offense at all. It's super gross. And again, it's unfortunate that it's another guy that Roden can't pivot out really with the depth. Ridley against Igbuka. Give me Igbuka. Ridley's been very unfortunate. We were hoping that he was going to get a lot of targets and at least being relevant for PPR's sake, but Titans also look just absolutely nasty. So until something gets figured out there, but I think their offensive line is kind of beyond repair for this season. It's not going to produce much fantasy relevance there. Igbuka just continues to get better each week. Oh, damn, he had 10 targets last week, only 4 receptions. And another guy that I was kind of keyed out that he was having kind of a quiet week, and then he just had a giant touchdown out of nowhere. And that just kind of shows that, Baker likes to sling it. And especially while Mike Evans is out, he's going to be worthwhile, a great starter. So give me Igbuka there. Debo versus Wandale. Oh, man. I think I'm going to go Daniels back. He had some pretty good weeks. Damn. I'm going to lean Debo. I do like Wandale. Just like for the perspective of, I think Dart is going to want to check it down a lot. And he's kind of like the short, just PPR guy in that sense. I think him and Dart are going to have a good connection. But for now, I'm going to go with the known commodity in Debo. So, yeah, I think other than Waddle, I think I got Roden in most matchups. We can see because of the projections, it's kind of tough. One thing I will say, I didn't realize how many holes that Roden had. Chuba, hopefully he gets healthy, but T. Higgins, you can't really switch him out. The bench is lacking right now unless Jameson Williams figures it out. There's really no one you can really pivot to, which is a little scary with bye weeks coming up for Roden. So kind of a team to monitor, but this week isn't one of those weeks. I'll take him. Oh man, 135. I'll do 125 to 110.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough week. Again, my week will rely on Mahomes and Worthy to make up for it. So relying on stack touchdown, and Jacksonville's even is pretty tough. The thing about the Bills, and obviously I would go Josh Allen too. The thing about the Bills is their defense is really bad. That's why like Saints were in that game for a lot of that. And that's why there wasn't going to be what you talked about, kind of sitting on a lead. They can't do that because their defense is not good. And Patriots offense is actually pretty good. So we actually might have a really high scoring game on Sunday night between the Patriots and the Bills. Bills good offense, bad defense. Patriots have a good offense. So you might see a kind of a high scoring one. So you might see a lot of Josh Allen points. Hopefully James Cook gets the brunt of that. Yeah, and then no Bucky Irving probably this week, most likely. So I've got to lean on Ramondre. And unfortunately, the RB1 in Pittsburgh isn't playing this week. So I couldn't go Kenneth Gainwell in this one. So I have to go Ramondre. And Ramondre, man, I mean, I'm just banking on him having a good game against the bad Bills defense. Yeah, everything else you said, I do. Yeah, Calvin Ridley's been one of the biggest busts ever. I mean, I'm just so unhappy that I drafted him, but I think the other guy I was going to draft didn't amount to much anyway. I forgot who it was, but it was between him and it was like Cup. I mean, it didn't matter really with that pick, but I did want to point out the Ibuka thing's interesting because you watch the games and he looks good. So there's interesting metrics that came out this week. So one metric I saw. Ibuka is last among all receivers in ESPN's open score. He cannot get open. And it's among all receivers. His getting open score is really bad. But again, you watch these games, sure, but he's still getting targets. But also, too, this is another interesting stat I saw. Ibuka has more targets through his first 4 games, which is 31, than Larry Fitzgerald, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, and Odell Beckham had in their first 4 games, which is pretty interesting, right? He's being targeted more than anybody. Not having Mike Evans and not having Chris Godwin to start the season, that helped that. But still, you can say it's not getting open things, whatever. But, these are NFL DBs, so, quarterbacks are going to have to throw it to their guys because they're not always going to be open. Thought that was interesting. But yeah, I like Ibuka. I think at some point, really, he's going to have to wake up. I'm hoping. Otherwise, it's going to be one of the worst seasons ever for a wide receiver 1. And then Wan'Dale Robinson, Wandale, or guy. I honestly don't know what's going to happen with him because he barely got any targets last week with Dart playing his first game, but maybe that was his first game, and now with no neighbors. I will say this: there's potential that he could be keeping. There's also potential he could be bust. But with the injuries that happened last week between Tyreek Hill and Malik Neighbors, my team benefited off those because Wandale becomes really the wide receiver 1 there, depending on how they utilize him, whether in the slot or wide receiver or on the outside. But then with Tyreek Hill getting hurt, Waddle becomes a wide receiver 1. What happened last time Waddle was a wide receiver 1 before they got Tyreek Hill? He was a 100-catch guy, man. So people forget Waddle was a beast before Tyreek Hill came there. And yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. But there's potential that Wandale and Waddle could be guys. So, but yeah, I'm going to go with Roden here. I think Roden beats me. Yeah, I'm going to go 130 to 110. So yeah, right around the same thing you had. But it could be worse for me, honestly. I don't like my matchups at all this week, and I don't like who I'm starting at all. Really, I'm never trading future picks again. I'll say that. I say that now. I say that now, but man, the draft was rough to watch, to bear witness to, see all these guys fall. And then now, because I remember from the draft, I'm like, damn, Michael Pittman's still there. I want him. Jacoby Myers is still there. I want him. And I had no picks to get back in. And I just saw these guys fall. I'm like, dude, come on. Luckily, Waddle fell to me. That was one of the guys oh, please fall. And then Ramondre Stevenson fell to me. That was just good value. I'm not really high on Ramondre, but nonetheless, you and I both have ZT and Dave to start off with. So no differences in our pick so far. All right, our next one, we got ZB versus, great minds think alike, man. ZB versus Cobb. So this is your matchup here. ZB, a new owners club, a guy who, came out sophomore year, took his team to the championship, defied all odds. But I'll tell you what, him and I are talking about a certain quarterback situation because he's not happy with his quarterback situation. He's got Kyler Murray and he's got Jackson Dart. And yeah, so let's begin here. So Kyler Murray gets Tennessee or Jackson Dart, or not Jackson, or Daniel Jones versus the Vegas Raiders. Raiders have a good defense. Titans are a disaster. So you could see Murray do well, but man, Murray's just so limiting, man. To watch his games is so frustrating because he could be a badass quarterback, but I just don't know what it is. Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones has been fantastic so far this year. As far as top 5, I saw a stat the other day as far as top 3 offenses or offenses to score I forgot, it was a ridiculous stat, but it was the Colts, Bills, and Chiefs were amongst the top 3 offenses in this particular stat as far as scoring on all their drives, scoring touchdowns on most of their drives. I think it was like they were 60% as far as scoring on most of their drives this season. So Daniel Jones putting this team in positions to score, be it touchdown or field goal. I think it was just scoring on 60% of their drives this year. So it tells you a lot about Indiana Jones. So I'm going to go Indiana Jones against the Raiders. I know the Raiders have a good pass rush, but I love what the Colts have. Tennessee actually has a decent defense, and Kyler Murray, I'm kind of out on him forever, honestly, until he goes to a new situation and he gets his confidence back. JSN versus Garrett Wilson. I don't know how you feel about Garrett Wilson, but every time I watch him, I'm like, damn, man, he's actually pretty solid. He's need to throw the ball to him more. And JSN just gets a lot of targets. Last week was kind of his weakest week, I would say. But overall, on the season, you can't really deny what JSN has done. So even though JSN on the season has having a better year than Garrett Wilson, I'm going to go Garrett Wilson just based on Dallas' secondary being atrocious. Every game they play is like a shootout. And by that measure, I'm going to go Garrett Wilson in this one. So right away, I got Daniel Jones and Garrett Wilson back-to-back. James Cook versus the Patriots and Derrick Henry versus Houston. Houston's a good defense. Potentially Cooper Rush playing quarterback this week. So I could see one of those old-school kind of Tennessee Titan games for Derrick Henry, which I know you're hoping for. James Cook's great. New England's defense is kind of hit or miss. But I think for the fact that Lamar's not playing this week and Cooper Rush is the quarterback, you're going to see a very Tennessee Titan-like offense this week. So it's the 30 carries to Henry. And while Henry may not get 100 yards, it may be one of those like 25 or 80 kind of games for him, or 25 or 70, but he gets a touchdown in that. And I think that's solid. And I think we're going to see Henry being utilized a lot this week. So give me Henry over James Cook. Dalton Schultz versus Tyler Warren. I have no Schultz stock. I know Tyler Warren was key to start the season out. I don't have either one of these guys in any of my leagues. Oh, wow. Warren had a nice – after I dogged him last week, Warren had a good game. And what's Schultz doing? Okay, solid. Okay. Yeah, I'll go Tyler Warren. I don't think it's particularly close then. Yeah. Just what I imagined. Okay, then we have Alvin Kamara versus Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason had a really bad game last week going against the Steelers. But they are staying over the pond, so maybe there's a better game this week. No jet lag. Well, I have no Kamara stock. Not bad. I mean, yeah, I'll go volume. I'll go Kamara. I don't trust what the Vikings are with their quarterback situation. Wentz is really bad. Devontae Adams and Tony Pollard. What's Pollard up to? Ooh, not bad. Adams has been kind of key, though. I don't think he's had less than 50 yards on the season so far. Yeah, he's had 50 yards in every game. Volume-wise, I go Pollard, but as far as like what I think how bad San Francisco is right now and how good the Rams are playing, I'm probably going to go Devontae Adams tonight, just based on the fact he hasn't gotten below 50 yards yet. And San Francisco is just a disaster right now, and I think this could be a blowout this weekend. And I can't trust anything with Tennessee. I'm selling everything Tennessee. I'm actually miserable that I have Calvin Ridley, and I have to start him. So like I'm selling everything Tennessee stock related. So I'm going to go Devontae Adams in this one. Zay Flowers, Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey's been a real disappointment this year. Zay Flowers has been the only guy they have in Baltimore. I know he had a couple weeks ago, but he's been the only guy. I mean, he's getting like 8 targets every week. And we'll see what happens with Cooper Rush. I think Cooper Rush actually might be more beneficial for Zay Flowers. But Ladd's been a real disappointment, man. I think if anybody's been more negatively impacted by Keenan Allen coming back, it's been Ladd McConkey. I mean, what Keenan Allen was what Ladd McConkey substituted. Like that he came in for that spot. And as soon as Keenan Allen comes back, he takes his spot back, and Ladd McConkey's sitting there with his dick in his hand, not doing anything. So I got to go Zay Flowers. I think Cooper Rush will help him this week. I think there'll be a lot of check downs in that offense. So yeah, I'll go Zay Flowers. But all that to say is actually leans more Cobb in this one. Well, actually, I think all the flexes went to him. Oh, pretty interesting. What's this spread here? Wow, it's pretty close. Yikes! Damn. Okay, so I'm gonna put it this way. I'm gonna go. I think Garrett Wilson has a really big game, and I think Indiana Jones has a big game against the Raiders, and I think that will put him over the top in this one. So I think it's a close one. I think at 135 to 125, I think Cobb edges out ZB in a very, very, very close matchup. I think Cobb's Derrick Henry trade is also another reason that helps him in this one. So give me Cobb in an upset over ZB.
I love it. That's what I'm hoping for. A Derrick Henry classic performance because I gave up a fair amount for him, and some of the pieces that I gave up, I'm kind of wishing I had for this week because I'm not loving my flexes. You talked about Lad being a disappointment. I think I forget the exact stat, but it was basically like the performance he's having to start this season after how good he was last season is like never happened before. That's a very broad statement that I just made because I don't know the exact stat, but it was just like, yeah, it's Keenan's like a guy that I thought have like a key like first 2 weeks, maybe three, but now it's just like, and then Quinn Johnson turned into a completely different person. So didn't expect that at all. So that's really unfortunate. I just really wish. And then Jordan Mason going against Cleveland. Cleveland's been shutting down running backs left and right, which gives me a little bit of worry about Mason there. But it's in London. Anything can happen there, especially with like Dylan Gabriel starting there. So maybe there's a lot of turnovers, a lot of opportunity for Mason. Really just need a touchdown from him. Yeah, I mean, I like my chances here. The only thing that gives me a little pause is my flexes are all kind of shaky. Not guys I'm like super confident in right now. I think I still have. I think James Cook is going to do great against us. I think Kamara against the Giants is going to eat. I think JSN. Oh, I don't know. I like Wilson. I don't know. And then if Kyler Murray has like a typical, like just annoying 1 week Kyler Murray game that he has like every season and then goes back down to earth, I could see it being this week. I still kind of lean ZB here. By like, I think it's going to be really close. I'm hoping for the best. I just think my ceiling is not really there, especially with Bijan on by. I think I'm gonna have to go ZB here, like 123 to 118. I think it's gonna be pretty close. Oh, it's kind of exactly what I didn't even see that's what the projections were.
Yeah, it's almost
like the
exactly that. And I'll say this: these are both two guys who are also in the Baker sweepstakes right now. So right now, Kyle's riding high on the whole Indiana Jones thing. Yeah, I think you are.
And Caleb's been pretty key.
Yeah. What did he get last?
Well, last week he sucked ass.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, Caleb had a bad game against the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders defense is sneaky. Like you look at their team, they're not good, but their defense is actually really good. And like in that game last week, like Gino put them in really horrible positions, and still, even the amount of turnovers he had, Caleb only had a 13. So that's very interesting to see. But playing in Indianapolis is also a tough place to play. So I think there could be a key game for him. So
yeah, and I'll tell you what, I think if you look into my reigning back-to-back stack title. Well, a lot of my problems have been my QBs. Burrow hurt this year. Burrow wasn't the best, at least to start the year last year, and then it was too late because I shipped everyone off when he started doing well. Before that, I think that was when I decided to be ballsy and keep Russell Wilson, and that was fucking terrible. And then the year before that, I mean, I lost in championship there. I had Kyler Murray when he was kind of having an off, like after his 2 key years, he had his drop off. So
yeah,
QBs have not been the best for me.
I mean, look, there's a guy who's right now he's got an amazing offense, he's got amazing weapons, and he can be had. And he's a 14th round tenor if you want to keep him. And you have multiple early round picks, so like I think a 4th round pick would actually be solid for you. I mean, especially if Indiana Jones flames out and Caleb is meh. There's options out there. That's all I'm saying.
I love to know that there's options.
Optionality is your best friend, man. It's your best friend. All right, so now we got our next match. We got Jack versus Hotch. Lil J versus Hotch. Lil J, one of my favorite stories of the year is Lil J, and also one of my other favorite stories is Hotch being 0-3 and almost being 0-4, but nonetheless, Hotch is 1-3, and he's not. I don't think he's not going anywhere anytime soon. As far as being in the Tomato King conversations, but Jack versus Hotch. Cobb, who do you got, buddy?
Yeah, this is these guys are great friends. They probably talk second most to Hotch and Roden, I imagine. And interested to see how Jack takes this one. I think he's looking really good. He has, I think, the most points for right now. His team is looking great. And Hotch's team, like you said, is a little bit in shambles, but he does get Jaden Daniels back. Jaden Daniels against Hurts just out the gate. I'm going to go Daniels. I think, especially against Denver. I don't know. Hurts has had good, I guess, good fantasy performances, which is interesting. I just think it's been so boring to watch the Eagles. I'm kind of on the same boat. They need to figure something out. It's funny because going and then Daniels, we'll see how he is after the injury. I think it sounded like the Panthers kind of played it safe with him, and Chargers have looked good. But I think this is one where they're going to kind of need to be in a shootout. And I think the rushing upside with Daniels pushes them ahead. But excited to get him back and just kind of, I think it's fun just having Jaden Daniels on Sundays, just being able to watch him. But Devontae Smith against BTJ, two very sad starts to the season. We had one good week for Devontae Smith, but man, I guess I'm gonna lean BTJ just because his floor is like Jesus, like a 7. I don't know. This is close to a wash, but I'll lean BTJ. Very, very gross wide receiver matchup. But I think the rest of the matchups will hopefully pick up for this game because I don't know, that's just gross. CMC against Hampton. CMC is all the 49ers have. Purdy, I think, is out. Juwan Jennings is out. Pearsall's out. The Rams could also just completely shut down McCaffrey. Just literally everybody on the field just focus on McCaffrey and they'll be all right. But this being PPR, he's going to get a ton of targets. That's going to make him look really good. Hampton, obviously with the Najee injury, has started to turn it around. We were kind of giving Hodge a bunch of shit for taking him, and now, of course, starting to flip a switch. He looked great against Giants. He looked great against Denver. I know Washington's a little better against the run, but I think Hampton's due for a good week. I think I'm going to lean McCaffrey though, just because he is going to get all of those targets in PPR. I think the Rams are a great defense, but when you're on a team like the Niners, and I still think this isn't like a Pollard situation where Pollard gets the ball a lot. McCaffrey's at least getting passes, and 49ers offensive line is at least decent. And McCaffrey's obviously a 100 times better than Pollard. So I'm going to go McCaffrey there. Hampton, I think, is close behind, but I'm leaning McCaffrey. Tommy Tremble against Brock Bowers would probably be laughing at that week 1. This part of the season, Bowers looking pretty meh. Another kind of blunder of a keep and pick from Hotch. I think he had a great team developing, at least early on in the season. I thought he had a great team coming together, but a lot of injuries around him really hurting him. Bowers hasn't really looked the same. The Raiders have been very meh. I'm gonna still go Bowers, but I think it's funny that that's even like a debate, not an automatic 100% Bowers. Jamar Chase against A-Chain. Give me A-Chain with Hill being out. A-Chain's looked great. I know Ollie Gordon's been getting involved, but it hasn't really stopped A-Chain's performance. And Jamar Chase, man, Browning looks like he's fighting for his life out there. Yeah, he's going to get the targets, but his yardage, 23 and 50 in the last 2 weeks. That's gross. And again, it's one of those things where their problems are too big to solve in the season. It's going to be a next year thing. Chase is just going to be a wide receiver, a back end wide receiver 2, probably most of the weeks. But A-Chain, safer option. Give me him. 2 surprises of the year. ETN versus Quentin Johnston, a guy that Hotch was able to get off waivers, kind of lucked into. It seemed like not a lot of people wanted Johnson. I think we kind of made fun of the fact that he was the prize of the week 1 waivers, and then again kind of turned into a completely different player. And then ETN has kind of looked like he was when he started with the Jags, and I think he looks great. I think a lot of people got excited about Tootin, but he's kind of taking the back seat. I think he'll be able to run against the Chiefs. I do like Johnson in a shootout. Oh, man, this is close. I'm going to go. I don't know. I know the Chiefs, against the run, aren't the best, but something about the Chiefs makes me think that they might try and make Lawrence throw, or I don't know.
We haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in the last 30 games in playoffs included.
So I'm going to go Johnson in this one, just because Washington's defense is pretty soft. I think they're going to try and make this game a shootout. Or Washington's going to need to, be able to score to keep up with the Chargers offense. But give me Johnson there. I think ETN will have a solid game, but I like Johnson's upside. Judkins versus Slayton. Little Jay picked him off of waivers, plugging right into the lineup. Love to see it. But give me Judkins, another guy that, Hodge took a shot on, and this one actually seemed to have panned out. We'll see what the offense looks like with Gabriel, but Flacco looked terrible, and Judkins was still looking pretty good since coming back or becoming part of the team. I guess he's a rookie, he's not coming back. But give me Judkins in that matchup. But with all that, I mean, I guess I chose 1, 3, and then I gave the only real strong one I gave to Lil J was Achane and McCaffrey. That's a little surprising, actually. I thought Lil J was going to walk into this and dominate. I might go Hotch here at an upset. Who does?
It's really close.
It's really close. I think we'll see how CMC does. I mean, CMC needs to have a classic CMC game for Lil Jack, I think, tonight. That'll be a deciding factor, I think. But right now, I think we're going to lean Hotch. I'm going to give him I like the projections right now. I like the 131 to 124. Pretty spot on with what it is.
Like every Jacksonville Jaguars weapons in this game: Brian Thomas Jr., Etienne, and Travis Hunter.
Oh yeah, Travis. I keep forgetting about that. Jesus.
Yeah, his inflated 11 points every week, which is the most ridiculous thing ever.
Yeah, I think he's going to be playing more offense from what I've seen. They're going to start taking him off of defense and playing him, which I guess should benefit Hotch. But yeah, I mean, you're taking him that high. He's getting 8, 7, 6, and 6. That's
terrible.
Especially
when you're playing as many snaps as he's playing, and that's what you're getting. It's pretty pathetic. Because he had 9 snaps on defense last week, which is more snaps than any other offensive players playing on defense. It's really tough. As you're going through this matchup, and Hodge's team, I know it's a juggernaut, right? It's like going into the season, Lamb, Chase, and Bowers. Bowers gets hurt week 1. Chase, his quarterback situation is horrible, and their offensive line's terrible, so thus he's not doing anything. Lamb's out, so his 3 keepers, everyone's like, "Oh man, Hodges got the best keepers ever." I don't know how he did it. And then that, and then he did that trade for Daniels. Daniels hurt, and then the Commanders don't really look good on top of Daniels being hurt, and now he's coming back. So he should have a good game, but against Chargers defense is a good defense. I think based on the line of that game, I think the Redskins or Commanders win that game. Devontae Smith, him and Tasia were betting at the draft who's going to be if Devontae Smith was key or not. I think Devontae Smith's been horrible, and that's because the quarterback that Lil J has in this game. Just the offense is not play call wise is not good. BTJ's been horrible. I mean, seeing some of the routes he's running, he's giving up during games. They're winning merely off defense in their takeaways. That's how Jacksonville's winning. Quinn Johnson, I think really the X factors in this game, no surprise, CMC. CMC has been, regardless of what has happened with their quarterback situation, the receivers, he's been matchup proof this year. Has not had below 49 yards rushing in a game, and has not had less than 6 catches in a game so far this year. So he's pretty much a wide receiver 1 based on his numbers. These tight ends, I also think it's a wash. Tremble and Bowers. Yeah, Bowers should be better, but he's playing hurt. Etienne, I'm not a big fan of in this matchup, at least. I think it's Achane, McCaffrey versus Judkins. And this is why I lean Lil J, because I think the height and the ceiling for Achane and CMC is much bigger than the Judkins and Johnston and Hampton. Okay, so pretty much for me, this game boils down to McCaffrey and Achane versus Hampton, Johnston, and Judkins. Now, do you think those 3 are going to outscore Achane and McCaffrey? I don't think so. I think Judkins have a big game, but also I'm basing it off Gainwell having a big game last week. So because Gainwell had such a big week against Minnesota last week, Judkins could do that as well, but I also feel like Minnesota's going to be kind of honing in on that and making sure that's not the case. And I think with Gabriel starting at quarterback for the Browns, I think you stack the box against the Browns, and then you make Gabriel have to beat you. And I think that's what the game plan is going to be. So I don't think Judkins is going to have as good of a game as Gainwell did. Nowhere close to that. So I think I go the CMC Achane versus the Judkins, Johnston, and Hampton 3. So Give me Jack in this one. I think Hodge goes to 1-4, which the whole league was going to love to see. I think I've had numerous people contact me on the side saying, "Hey, who do you want to be who do you want to throw tomatoes at the most?" And I said, "Well, who do you think?" And they said Hodge. And I was like, "Well, what about you?" And they're like, "Yeah, I probably have to say Hodge too." I'm like, "Yeah, of course." So people are going to love that. And he's already talking about trading assets if he loses another game. So 1-4. And the assets he wants to trade are the guys that like nobody wants for his team. People want Lamb and people want Chase. He doesn't want to trade those two. He wants to trade everybody else, but not those two, which I think is hilarious. But yeah, so I'll take a Little Jack in this one. And I think Little Jack wins 130 to Hodge's 112. Yeah. All righty. So now we get Alex and Tage, probably matchup of the week, I would say. It's the 5 or 7 matchup. So Alex loses. Alex gets out of the playoffs, and then Tage jumps in the playoff picture. So that's nice. You're seeing a lot of shit talking this week on the you see Tage talk about a guy you put in the block. Alex dogs that guy he puts in the block. Tage does it. Alex does that. It's a vice versa. They're just going at each other on the group chat. Love it. Love the passive aggressive stuff. Although Tage had a lot of comments over the last couple days that don't make no sense to me. Bad logic on a lot of the stuff he says. Although I think the logic that Alex brings to the table is kind of shitty too. So it's a battle of two guys, the echo chamber guys, the guys who like to hear themselves talk. So I love they're going at each other, and I love they're playing this week too. So let's begin here. We got Justin Herbert versus the Commanders, and we got Justin Fields versus the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to go Justin Fields against the Cowboys. I don't care how good Herbert's been this year. The Cowboys defense is so bad. They've made everyone look good. The fact that Russell Wilson had 500 yards against them and then is benched 2 weeks later just tells you everything you need to know about the Dallas defense. And for that logic, I'm going Justin Fields over Justin Herbert. That's it. That's all I have to say about that, really. Nico Collins versus the Baltimore Ravens. Cortland Sutton versus the Eagles. Man, Cortland Sutton's going to be going against Quinyon Mitchell. Nico Collins has a horrible offensive line. I don't think the Ravens are going to allow that again, or that kind of like the demolition against their secondary again. They just have too many guys still back there. Kyle Hamilton's still there. Marlon Humphrey, I don't know if he's playing this week. So I don't think Stroud's going to have enough time to do that. He doesn't have the Chiefs offensive line. So that's a big part of that for me. So I'm going to go Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton's been matchup proof this year. He's been really good against everybody. I know he's not the sexiest name, but Cortland Sutton's great, man. I'm a big Cortland Sutton guy. So give me Cortland Sutton in that one. Saquon Barkley against Denver. Breece Hall against Dallas. Give me Breece Hall against Dallas. Tay just lucking in here with the going against Dallas this week. I'm sure you're kind of pissed off about that. You'd love to have Breece Hall and Wilson against Dallas this week. But I'll give me Breece Hall against Dallas. Saquon's going against a tough defense. Saquon, interestingly enough, Saquon has less yards per carry than Pacheco and Kareem Hunt does this year, which is crazy because everyone thinks Pacheco and Kareem Hunt are washed. Barkley's getting a lot of totes, but he's not doing a lot with it, averaging 3.1 yards per carry, and you're going against a really good defense. Give me Breece Hall against Dallas's horrible defense. Hunter Henry, who's been really good this year, and Trey McBride, who's awesome. I'm going to go, I think you could make the argument it could be a wash, but I'm going to go Trey McBride's the better overall tight end than Hunter Henry. Trey McBride's really the wide receiver one there. Hunter Henry's been great. Drake May's best friend, but I'm going to go Trey McBride, but it's very closer than that projection shows you. I think higher for both of them, but I think closer than 4 points. Give me that. Jonathan Taylor versus the Raiders, Chris Olave versus the Giants. Olave's been great this year. I like Jonathan Taylor with his volume. I think JT's solid. I think he's my RB1 this year, really. But I'll go JT against Olave. I know Olave gets a lot of targets, but give me JT. George Pickens versus the Jets. Kenneth Walker versus Tampa. Tampa's got a good defense. Pickens is still the wide receiver one right there. And I think the Dallas offense is really good right now. So give me Pickens over Kenneth Walker against Tampa Bay's stingy defense. Then we got Javonte Williams versus Jerry Jeudy. I'll take Javonte over Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy's horrible. Has not been good this year. And new quarterback situation, very murky. I don't know what's going to go on with there. I'm not even starting Harold Fan Jr. this year. I'm Harold Fan's biggest fan, but because their quarterback situation is so murky, I got to go away from that offense. I'm selling on that offense this week. Give me Javonte Williams against the Jets. Rough defense, which Achane dominated on Monday. So I like that. I like that Jets and Cowboys going to be a high-scoring affair. It's going to be a fun one to watch, really. But yeah, with all that being said, I think Tasia gets the dub here. Just overall, I think based on what I have, I think, Alex did sweep the flexes, but I love what Fields against Dallas. I love Brees Hall against Dallas. I love Sutton against the Eagles. So, yeah, I think Tasia wins this one. I think it's a really close matchup. I think it's a very big one. I know Alex wants this one badly, but I think Tasia has it, man. I really do. So, give me Tasia. What do they have projection here? They have 127, 116. Damn. I don't agree with that at all. What its defense is? Interesting. Yeah, I don't like that. I actually like that same score, but the other way. So, give me Tasia 135 to Alex's 115. Tasia wins big time.
Yeah, I like that. I think I'm in the same boat. I mean, just Justin Fields and Brees Hall going against Dallas is the real difference here. I think Alex's ceiling is a little lower this week than usual. It is that that Dallas Jets game is they're gonna be all over that one. And it's gonna be really fun to watch. I'm really interested to see how Herbert does. He's been kind of on a downward trajectory the last few weeks. So can he keep up with Fields in Dallas? I don't think so. I think Fields is coming out of that game with no less than 30. But yeah, no, I like Tage in this game too. Pretty similar projections. I'll go one. Yeah, I don't know. I'll go 132 to 121. I'll give Alex a little more points on that end. I think Tage's team is looking solid, especially on a bye week. He has Rashee Rice coming back. He just flipped Henry. I will say with Tasia, we were giving him all the kudos for taking Henry over CMC. Probably wishing he got CMC at this point. But he was able to flip Henry to me for some good assets and gave him some more depth. And I think also just on the Judy thing, I think Gabriel came out saying something like calling Judy a stud, saying like we're gonna feed him. I think that just might be a new quarterback trying to hype up his guy. But it might be interesting to watch and see if Judy can come out as a reliable option. But yeah, I like Tasia in this one too.
Did you have Jack or Hosh in the matchup before this one?
I had Hotch.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure I'm making the graphic for the other thing for that so people know who we picked this week. So Tasia, clean sweep with Tasia there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now we got Yags versus Stu. Yeah, so talk about that one, buddy.
Oh man, this might be the game of the week in like a gross sense. Like it's just like both teams need it so badly. I think Stu needs it a little more because I like what Yags has. He's got a lot of people on bye right now, so I think his starters look pretty good normally. But yeah. Fairly gross game. Projection 109 to 102 is hilarious. But Stafford against Bo Nix. Yags to Stafford tonight. Stafford and that offense has looked really good. They're going against San Fran, which good defense. I think the Rams are going to be in control this game. I don't know if they're going to throw it that much. I mean, they're going to throw, but just like not as much as one might hope for starting Stafford. I think I'm going to lean Nix here, actually. Just because of all the pieces that are missing on San Francisco, I don't really know if it's going to be competitive. Kind of a short week, and I could see Stafford coming out with like a 17 or 18, like it's projected now, and Nick's a little more of a ceiling. Even though Philly can be a little stingy, I'll give Stu a bone here. I'll lean Knicks a little bit. JJ, Cleveland across the pond, or Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's been a thorn in my side because of having Ladd. I'm going to lean Justin Jefferson. Keenan Allen against Washington should be great. I think he should be open all day, but I'm not going to. Even though Justin Jefferson's had changes around QBs, he still looked great. Especially like last 2 weeks have been pretty solid. So give me Justin Jefferson in that matchup. David Montgomery against Kyren Williams. This is interesting because I know David Montgomery had a bad week last week again, but it was against Cleveland. I could see him coming back to fruition this week. Kyren Williams, I think I saw a stat where like Blake Corum had almost 40 or 45% of the snaps last week. And I think it's been like an upward trajectory with Corum snaps. And then with how much Stafford is targeting Puka, Devontae Adams has kind of impacted him. But again, this is the matchup where I do think the Rams are going to be in control. So just to kind of stay consistent there, I'm going to take Kyren just because I think he will get a lot of looks. But it could be something where Corum ends up getting a lot of looks tonight because the Rams are in control. But I'm going to lean Williams, but I do like David Montgomery going against the Bengals. Bengals defense is just terrible, especially their run defense. So I wouldn't be surprised if David Montgomery has one and Gibbs have one of those like classic 1-2 punch games. Laporta against Theo Johnson. Give me Laporta. I mean, I get that Jackson Dart rookies typically focus on the tight ends. I just feel a little better about Laporta. I think he's a safer bet. I don't think it's by a large margin or anything. I'm just going to lean Laporta there. Myers against Shaheed. Give me Jacoby. I think he's probably the only. Well, okay, he is. I knew he had a decent amount of targets, but he only got a 6 last week. I was going to say he's a guy I'm pretty comfortable with, which is saying something with the Raiders because that offense is very just up and down, I guess. I don't feel super comfortable with any of the options there. But I'm going to lean Myers. I think Shaheed is solid. And he's been doing pretty well, but I just trust Myers and his involvement in the offense more than I do with Shaheed and what the Saints have going on. Godwin against DeMarcado. Gross. Godwin came back, got 10 looks, but I don't think he looked all that great. Obviously with Evans being out, that's good. And then with Bucky being out, maybe a little more targets there. I feel like the Cardinals don't even want DeMarcado to be the guy. I saw, was it Michael Carter being brought up and I seemingly being the starter or like the 1 and 2 down. Well, Jimmy Carter is going to be the third down back. Man, just to be safe, I'm just gonna go wash here. I don't like any of this. I like if I had to, I might lean Godwin just because he got the 10 targets last week, and we don't really know what the Cardinals are gonna look like, but it's not the best matchup. Pittman against Diggs. Everyone's sucking off Diggs for his performance last week, saying he's back, got 100. But that's like the Patriots have been switching who the main receiver is. Like that was Booty week 1. It was been Henry. Like this offense just kind of rotates who they're using. Yeah, I hope Diggs, just as a fan, is actually back, but have way more confidence in Pittman, his involvement. He's been great. I actually been trying to get him from Yags with no luck. But until I see more consistency out of the Patriots offense, I'm gonna lean Pittman in that one. So yeah, all in all, I think I gave 1, 2, 3. It's pretty close, half and half. Yeah, the projections are pretty good because it's kind of gross. This is some gross matchups here. Man, it's and I don't even know like who's the game breaker here.
I mean, like, it should be Kyron and Jesus, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little rough. Like it'd be awesome if Stu had neighbors here. Like it'd be exciting to see, him going against with the Saints, but unfortunately he's out for the season. So yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ. I want Stu to get. I want both these guys to win. I want them to both get a W next time. I don't like seeing these guys at the bottom of the ranks, but these starting lineups got me thinking otherwise. I think I'm going to lean Yags here in like a 115 to 107 game. Like pretty gross. I could see it. I think it's pretty close, but with Justin Jefferson, I think Montgomery could have a pretty good game. And then just some consistency with Godwin and Pittman. Like, yeah, I guess I'm more comfortable with the floor on that side. But yeah, it's a pretty gross game.
Yeah, I probably lean Yags here. Because even the ones where like you have to stew, it's like barely. I don't like the 9 they're giving for Keenan Allen. It's a bad projection.
Yeah, it's super low.
Yeah, it's like they're still basing it off like preseason like numbers. It's like okay, but yeah, I think collectively Yags' team is better, and even DeMarcado, they're getting him a 10. Like you said, like they like him in his role that he is. They want to keep him in the same role that he already had been in. So yeah, so you can't even trust that. You can't trust the whole Patriots thing. Every week's a different guy. I mean, the thing is, we know what Laporta is. We know what Demont is. We know what Shaheed is because even Shaheed's getting points from his returns, and that helps him. I like Godwin this week because, I mean, it's another week back into acclimation and playing. And he had 10 targets last week, and it was his first week back. So I feel like they are going to integrate him a little bit even more this week. And no Bucky this week, so there might be passing a little bit more. So I feel like Godwin has a bigger game. I love Pittman this year. Jacoby Myers you're starting to see that go down a little bit, and you're starting to see other guys kind of emerge in that offense. I think I like Yaglu to win this game. They 109 and 102. I think Yaglu wins 120 to Stu 95. I think Stu goes back to being the low score chug man. I think his team's probably the worst starting team this week.
Yeah,
and that's saying something coming from me. My team doesn't look that good either. So you have Yags also.
Yeah, I got Yags.
And wow. Not going to be a good end of the season for my guy Stu, dude. God. Wow.
Is this with bye weeks? I know he's got the injuries. That's been rough, but
he's got to have bye weeks, right? I mean, you don't approach a team like this with bye weeks. No bye weeks?
Oh, just Swift.
Dude. I mean, yeah, that definitely changes some things. But I'll tell you what, I love his squad, though. You got Keenan Allen, Stephon Diggs. I mean, he's key old school guys. I mean, he needs like Godwin on his team because Godwin actually fits with Diggs and Keenan Allen. It really does.
They're good stew guys.
They are good stew guys. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that does it. We got a clean sweep on Yags over Stu. All righty. So now we're going to get to the nitty gritty here. Our favorite segment, everyone's favorite segment, Tomato King rankings, the Tomato Club, the Red Tomato Club, baby. So let's get to that intro right now.
I'm gonna keep on winning, so I won't be in the tomato club. Don't wanna wear that crown and get pelted with that farmer's love. Back to back like Cobb. Oh no, back to back like Cobb. Oh no, now that just ain't my fate. I'm gonna keep on winning, so I won't be in the tomato club. I'll dodge those red tomatoes if I just keep my place. When the final week comes and the shame bells ring, back to back like Cobb. Oh no, back to back like Cobb. Oh no, now that just ain't my fate. I'm gonna keep on winning, so I won't be in the tomato club. Tomato club.
All right. And we are back.
They get a shorter version of that.
So key though, it gives us time to get our rankings in. All right, so yeah, we'll begin with the 7th spot. So my 7th spot is Adam. So I think I had Adam rise a little bit from last week, but he's my 7th spot right now. I love Dak. I hate AJ Brown. I cannot stand Chase Brown. Kelsey, each week he's playing less and less snaps. He's also starting 2 tight ends, and that's becoming a normal thing for him. Drake London, even like, meh. His just team's just not a good team. Like, he's relying on Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings even played, like, still. Is that even a start? RJ Harvey's the RB2 there. It's not a really good team at all. He's really relying, like I mentioned during our show, he's really relying on Dak's, like, 40-point, 50-point games to help him through. It's just not a good team. And Jetty has not been a first-round pick at all based on the way his numbers so far, how that's gone. So, yeah, I'm not really buying Adam's team right now. And I think we're looking at a team next year that's probably going to actually be on the open market trying to trade for keepers. Because looking, I don't think you keep AJ Brown. I don't think you keep Chase Brown, and I think you only keep Drake London. Maybe. I mean, that offense has kind of been kind of weak. So there might be potential. Adam goes into the kind of blows it up for next year and goes for other keepers. So yeah, right now Adam is my 7th spot.
Yeah, I'm actually interested to see how similar our rankings are because I also have Adam at 7. Yeah, for all the reasons you said, it's just I could see him coming out of like these with his starting lineup. Like he can easily have weeks that are just 85 points, 90 points. Like the floor is so low and kind of consistently low for a lot of these guys. Like Genty had a big week last week. Yeah, we'll see if it continues. Harvey looked great last week, but again, it's one of those things like Dobbins is there. Are they really gonna like? Is that gonna be consistent? Ferguson obviously looks great, but like that's your best players, your tight end. Like and like you said, like I think I'm a bigger London guy than you are, but at the same time, there's just not a lot of firepower in here. I think yeah, I think he's in line. He's due for a couple chugs, I think, at some point this season. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I have him at 7 for now.
I mean, in theory, it could happen this week. I know I had him winning, but like, it's one of those hit or miss teams where it could really work out. But if Dak doesn't have a 40, then I think it could be very bad for him. So interesting, we are in the same spot there. So my 8th spot is my guy, my co-host Ryan Cobb. We're looking at a quarterback situation that's probably not the best. He's relying on Indiana Jones, kind of like continuing this, and so far it looks good, right? He hasn't really kind of flamed out yet, but there's potential of that. Caleb Williams has shown big weeks, but he's also shown really bad weeks. And if you are going to be a contender, you need to have consistent quarterback play. And I don't think he's really getting that. I know Daniel Jones has been that, but it's not consistent. Well, we don't know if it's going to be consistent or not, but like I'm betting against it. If I were to make a bet like Daniel Jones continuing this, I'm going to bet against it. Garrett Wilson's been great. Derrick Henry, well, we're going to find out how he can be without Lamar. Tyler Warren had a big week last week, had a big week 1, but since then he kind of like flamed out. Hawkinson's been awful, so he really has to kind of rely on Tyler Warren. Jordan Mason, I thought he was going to be key. He looked rough last week, but again, Aaron Jones will be coming back soon, so that could be based on a split again, because it wasn't like Mason really took off of that job. It was kind of like, oh, you're starting running back now, but like you're not really that much better than what we hoped for. He shows flashes during games, though. I will admit that. Pollard on a Titans team that's horrible. So while he gets the volume, that's just like a shit show. Lamb McConkey, we talked about earlier, is not looking good. He's not looking like the guy we thought he was going to be. Keenan Allen took from him. Bijan's been great. But yeah, it's a very meh team. I do appreciate you going out and trying to hit a home run with the Derrick Henry trade. I'm curious if you go back and do that again. I don't know if you would, but I like that you're making an effort here to try to strike while the iron's hot. But yeah, I'm just really not excited about this team. It all begins with the quarterback play and then 3 flexes that are kind of meh. When Bijan's there, it's great, but then you have 2 flexes that are so. Yeah, 8 spot is you.
Cool. It's been a rough stretch when I get excited that I'm 8. But yeah, I'll probably get to me in a little bit. Yeah, so this is where we have the first difference. I'm actually going to go with Hotch here at 8. I have a feeling he's a little lower for you over there. I think, again, I'm kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt that things are going to get better, especially with CD coming back. I hate his depth. It's really bad. But if Jaden is what we think Jaden Daniels can be, you have him, CD, Hampton being the running back. If Bowers can get back to it, I think Jamar Chase is just going to be very meh. But if it's your last flex, like if Judkins and Johnson keep it up, I think he has a pretty high ceiling, especially compared to someone like Adam. The only reason I have him lower right now is because he is 1-3, and I think there's a lot more just variability. I think he has a higher ceiling, but his floor is also pretty bad, especially with the lack of depth. Yeah, I'm not like fully out on Hotch's team. I think he also has the ammo to make a big trade if he needs to. So really interested to see how this week goes. If he loses, if he's going to just tank, or if he's going to make a push for a playoff spot, because it's getting that messy jumble that we try and decipher every year, and it seems especially gross this year. So no one's out of it yet.
So yeah, interesting. Hodge is nowhere near the 8 spot for me. I'm really hoping. I think it's more heart over head with me with the Hodge thing. So my 9 spot is my guy Yags. He's a very dangerous team. He had the 163 last week, had the high score. So kudos to him on that after being 0-3. High score last week, beat the number 1 scoring team in Jack to win that 163 to 153. really real barn burner. We talked about his matchup being kind of ugly this week. He's without big thing with him is without Pearsall as keeper. He's out Metcalf bye week, and then of course his stack the GB Staggers are the Staggers. If he can win this week without Love and Jacobs, he puts him in a really good spot because then he has the Staggers all year long. And that's a team to be reckoned with because what we just talked about, his team's not bad. With having as many bye weeks as he has this week, he's still filling out a pretty good roster that many people in the league right now who don't even have bye weeks would love to have starting for them this week. So if he can win this week, go 2-3 with Jacobs and Love coming back, I think this is a team. I have a 9 right now. Yeah, 9. This is based on his record and so what we've seen so far. This is a team that I could easily leapfrog and go right to the top 6 in my estimation, in my book, going forward. So if he wins this week, I think we're talking about Yags being a contender for the title this year because I really do love what he's doing with the Stackers this year.
Yeah, like to your point, I think just with the bye weeks, he's still looking good. And if you look at the points for like him and Hotch are kind of neck and neck, and just kind of unfortunate points against. He has the most right now, 576. That's almost 100 more than me and you. So could be a different season. Yags actually texted me yesterday saying he feels like me last year, which is fair. Not feeling like you have a bad team. You feel like you have a good team. You're just getting you're going against teams at the wrong time. But this week, I think he's fortunate that on a bye week he gets Stu. And yeah, we'll cover Yags more in a little bit. But with my this is 9, 9th spot, I'm going to go myself. I think a lot of question marks. I know around my QB situation, Daniel Jones. I'm also in the boat that it's still hard for me to fully buy in. He could have had a much bigger week last week if Adonai Mitchell wasn't an idiot and fumbled it. And then also like Tyler Warren got a rushing touchdown, like just kind of weird. But like I feel okay with it. And then with Caleb Williams, like I like having the 2 options, but it's one of those where like both of their floors are so low or feels so low. I think with Derrick Henry, you asked if I would do it again. I probably would change a few things around. I definitely wouldn't give the 8th. I think that 8th was just something that I did because I was like, whatever, let's just do this thing. Because I especially with like then Braylon Allen went down, and Brees is going against Dallas this week. Like that's very, and then of course Lamar Jackson goes down. So like, or goes down. I think I definitely, it was just an unfortunate way that the dominoes fell injury wise. But I feel like the Bijan Derrick Henry mix with Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson has been one of my favorite players to watch in the sense that that he's a stud, but his quarterback situation has been so bad, and it's finally starting to kind of benefit. I'm really hoping he just goes off against Dallas. But yeah, to your point, it's just my last couple flexes just are not my favorite. I think they at least get the looks, like with Mason and Pollard, like they have a decent floor, but their ceiling just seems very capped right now. And I think that's the one thing that's real, other than the QB situations, really hold me back, is that I just need like just one. I feel like I'm like a piece or two, or at least that has like a more or a higher ceiling to kind of really make some noise. But I'll stick with myself at 9 for now.
So far, kind of similar so far. Well, we have the same. Well, you have Hodge high, but okay. So my 10th spot, I have myself. I mean, look, I think I'm currently at 9 right now, so I have myself a little lower than that. Look, Mahomes looks like if Mahomes looked like he looked like last week every week, then I'm in. I'm back. Worthy looked like the guy, and that was his first game back from a shoulder injury, which he's still going to be working with. But for me, it's like it's only gonna get better because he'll have Rashee Rice in a couple weeks. But like this, he should have looked really bad last week, right? First game coming back with wearing a harness while playing, so you think he wouldn't look good. But the fact that like they were able to utilize him, he got hit a lot. He was sliding down Tyler Lockett style. I love that. But let's just face the facts here. Bucky Irving, I don't know how long he's gonna be out for. They say day to day. And if he's out for an extended period of time, I can't ride with Ramondre Stevenson and be a serious team. Just can't. It's not a serious team. Dallas Goedert's been great. I know I've gone with him and Fannin back and forth, but Goddard always has some knee issue going on. But my team honestly rests on Mahomes and Worthy. And like I said in my breakdown earlier, if Waddle can be the wide receiver one that he was a couple years ago before Tyreek Hill came there, and if Wan'Dale Robinson can be the wide receiver one with Neighbors being out, I'm a serious team that could be vying for a playoff spot come December. So we'll see about that. And then also I got guys like Kenneth Gainwell who could be key. He looked great last week, and Jalen Warren is still splitting with him even before Gainwell looked like the way he did. And obviously Rodgers has trust in him. But my team, you can't, like I said, if I'm starting Ramondre Stevenson and I'm starting Calvin Ridley still, this is a team that you kind of have to kind of really rise at. And really that's a team that's also relying heavily on their quarterback situation. And yeah, so that's why I'm a 10th spot. So I'm either a 6 seed or I could be in the Tomato King potential. So yeah, that's where I'm at 10.
Yeah, my 10th spot. I was kind of fluctuating where to put this guy. It's Jags. I think it's because of the current record, and he does have a chance to lose this week because of all the bye weeks. But I think out of all the people in the Tomato King rankings, I have faith that the Jags, if he gets to win, he's going to be climbing out of here in no time. Because I think his starting lineup is when fully healthy and when fully there is pretty good. I had some question marks about his depth, and now he's kind of having to rely on the Godwins and the Rashid Shaheeds a little earlier than I think he would have liked. But yeah, I think there's a lot of promise. I think the only reason he's as slow for me is because of the potential to lose this week and what his current record is. So for now, I'll keep him at 10.
All right, fair. Interesting. I think I know who your 11th spot is. My 11th spot is belonging to my guy, none other than Matt Hotch, a guy who should be 0-4 really, if you really think about it. But yeah, he's 1-3. Like we talked about earlier, Devontae Smith's not good. Brock Bowers playing on one leg. Jamar Chase has Browning in a very awful offensive line. CeeDee Lamb, I don't know how much longer he'll be out. And then after that, he's relying on Quinshon Judkins and Quentin Johnston to be relevant in this league this year, and Omarion Hampton. So those are 3 guys he's relying on. Those are not the 3 guys he thought he was going to be relying on come the season starts. So the fact that already those 3 guys have folded, and now he's relying on Johnston, Judkins in a horrible offense, and then Johnston, who's at the third option on that offense, who's going to be without key pieces of their offensive line going forward here. So that offense could really be in shambles compared to what it was the first 2 weeks. So you can make an argument that Hotch should be the Tomato King here, but it's very close for me. I know he's got the points for thing, but you got to throw all that out because all those guys who were putting up points from those first 2 weeks where he lost in close matchups, got to throw that out here, man, because I'm not really buying Johnston going forward, and I'm not buying Judkins going forward with the quarterback situation. And Devontae Smith's a bum. The only real weapon he's going to have is Hampton, but again, that's an offensive line that's also in shambles right now with Alt being out. So I have Hotch here at 11. And also Daniels, right? He traded a lot to have Daniels. McLaurin's out. Who's he going to be relying on? Zach Ertz and Luke McCaffrey. It's pretty bad. I mean, think about that. Yeah, I know Daniels is the name, but McCaffrey and Zach Ertz types with no running game role behind him. Daniels could be kind of one of those guys we're looking at the end of the year, sophomore slump really hit. It wasn't his fault. He had a lot of injuries on his team. But, yeah, I really don't like the state of Hotch's team. Really, and I'm not just saying that because I'm biased against Hotch. I don't like the state of his team right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I'm still clinging on to some of the names and potential that is there, but in a week or two that doesn't pan out, you can't really cling on that stuff anymore. So, my 11th spot. It's funny because my rankings were flopping around as we were talking through this, and I ended up having Yags jump. I actually almost had him jump 2 spots, but I ended up having you here at 11. It hurts me to do that, especially after the week that you put on. I think, again, it's like you're doing a lot with the team that you have. It's just looking at, Bucky being hurt. Hopefully he comes back. Your starting lineup looks great. And if Gainwell can stay that RB1, type. Like he looked great. He was fun to watch. Makes ZT sweat a little bit for the Steelers backfield. But yeah, I think it's just like with the Calvin Ridley, was hoping that be at least a PPR asset. Hasn't really turned out. Really interested to see how Waddle looks without Tyreek Hill there, and Mondre, like you said, like hopefully Bucky's not out long, because this is kind of now becoming a three-headed backfield, like with Gibson, which is just annoying that we do that. I do think Henderson ends up owning the backfield, but it's nice. At least Mondre isn't like completely going away, and could easily like punch it in for a score. Like I know we like kind of rotating who gets the score of the week, but yeah, I think a lot of it's going to ride on your stack that you got. You're going back to your roots with leaning on the KC stack. So it's really going to come down to how they can do, if Mahomes can keep up what he did last week, if Worthy can keep it up as the number one option, especially when Rice comes back. But for now, especially with a tough matchup this week, I got you at 11.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, like, again, I think honestly, if you look at the bottom like four, I think you can honestly make an argument for each one of them. You can kind of fit each one of them in the puzzle for that last spot.
For sure.
But I think the last spot's pretty apparent right now. It's our guy Stu, trotting out Bo Picks, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen. We're naming his team right now, and this is like there's no bye weeks. I mean, this is what his team is. Kittle, McLaurin, Neighbors all getting hurt really just kind of put him in with the third lowest score of the season, or second lowest score of the season. Yeah, I mean, outside Kyron Williams, this is not a team there's not a lot of assets on this team. So I'm also curious of what he's going to do in the offseason, because there's no way he keeps Bo Nix. I know he did it this year, but there's no way you go back 2 years in a row keeping a mid quarterback. But Kyron Williams, and even Kyron Williams is having a lock for a keep, right? Like, I mean, every week I've seen Corm get more and more carries. Corm actually looks pretty explosive out there compared to Kyron, even though they just gave Kyron a lot of money, so I don't think they're going to go off him anytime soon. But that's just a team, man. It's got not a lot to love. Starting DeMarcado, a third down back this week. I know he's got a 10 projection. Jacoby Myers has fallen off a little bit. He still gets a lot of targets, but he's fallen off. But that's a good offense to have a guy in, because they do pass a lot. But not a lot to love here, man. I don't think he's playing. I think he's playing some like contenders coming up here. He plays Yaglu this week, and I do see Yaglu as a contender. But then when next week he plays Hotch, that's a huge game as far as the Tomato King rankings go. The following week after that, he plays
Adam.
So, I mean, he's playing a lot of Tomato King ranking teams in the coming weeks. We're starting with me, right? So he goes from me to Yaglu to Hodge. Right away, he's playing 3 teams in the Red Tomato Club. If he can't beat any of those teams, he deserves to be the last place team. He's going through the gauntlet of the teams that we have in the bottom 4 right now. I mean, it's pretty crazy that he's going through that gauntlet. Well, I wouldn't say gauntlet, but like whatever you want to call it, the opposite of a gauntlet. But if he can't beat the Tomato King, the members of the Tomato Club as of right now, he deserves to be the last spot. So really, like, this is kind of like a show out or shut up kind of thing for him, man. Put up or shut up. It might be the end for him. And honestly, of all the guys I want to throw tomatoes to, he's probably not up there. I know he'll enjoy it. He'll laugh about it, but like, he's probably not one of the guys I want to throw tomatoes at. I'll do it willingly. I'll have a fun time fucking pegging those things at him. But it's not a guy I really want to be throwing tomatoes at. But so yeah, Stu's my Tomato King.
Yeah, unfortunately, Stu is my Tomato King as well. For all the reasons you said, it's just a team that is in shambles. Really, really needs to squeak out a win here against Yags. But like you said, it's going to go on a run of people that could be in the Tomato King ranks, and it's going to be really ugly if he comes out with just one win. Or I mean, he could go winless, and it's not it's not something that brings me pleasure to say. Even though I think after week 2, he said he like pointed out that my team is the only one that hasn't scored like 200 points yet or something like that. Now, where's Stu at right now? Pretty rough, but like you said, I think he would actually kind of enjoy tomatoes being thrown at him. So I don't know how much I would enjoy it. A lot would get stuck in his beard. I could see Stu catching a tomato and then chucking it back at someone. I'm just doing one of
No,
those.
you can't. You got it's only like arms wide, or he can like put it like behind his back. I don't know.
Well, yeah, he'd like it, and then I don't know. You don't want someone that likes being there for it. But it's actually I was kind of clicking around the current projections, the draft day projections, and the power rankings. Yahoo loves Hotch, which is wild.
It's because of Travis Hunter. That's why.
Yeah, and they hate ZT. Draft day rankings, ZT was projected to be 11th. In the power rankings, he's 8th. And I think in the current projections, he's projected to go, 9-5, which is funny, just because Yahoo just does not seem to like his squad at all. But Stu is consistently at the bottom there too. So even Yahoo agrees, Stu is our tomato king.
Wow. Well, I mean, Yahoo's got a lot of flaws, but hey, they called this one right on the money here with this one. But all right, guys. Well, that does it for us on this lovely Week 5 preview show. We'll be back next week, and I'll tell you what, we done a pretty good job. Last year, we kind of fell off of the Common Dash. I think we did we did one every other week, but we've been pretty consistent so far. So so far so good on the Common Dash show attendance and keeping things strong and keeping everybody up. We had a max of 3 people on the show today, so kudos to everyone who was watching during the work day. So we'll see you guys next week, and good luck to everybody. We'll talk to you guys on the chat tonight for some really cold takes, I'm assuming. So take it easy, everybody.